Hi, I'm Anna. Two things about me. First, I love sculpting weird little art dolls, and second, I'm obsessed with cats. That's why today we're sculpting a cat character. Problem: this idea is missing something. You know, that thing that makes my projects unnecessarily more complicated to make and weirder? Yeah, exactly that kind of idea. So thank you, Brianna Hawkins 8124 and BO 1543. I hope I pronounced that right. Today we're sculpting a cat, but who's also somehow a moon. Oh, and also, near the end of the video, I will have a little surprise, so yeah, just wanted to say that. Before actually starting to sculpt, I made two very quick sketches. I was really hesitating between two face shapes. I ended up choosing the crescent shape because I felt like it embodied the idea of the moon better than a simple round face. The most important part of this whole process was figuring out the common point between the moon and a cat. Like, what could possibly allow me to merge these two very different things into one single creature that made even a tiny bit of sense? And then I reached a very logical conclusion. The common point between the moon and a cat is a hairless cat. Just think about it. First, they're both hairless. Second, they both don't have any hair. And third, they're both bald. So yeah, that made perfect sense. I also knew I wanted this art doll to be some kind of princess, so for the dress I took inspiration from medieval style gowns I found on Pinterest. As usual, little me from the past, who was so optimistic and full of hope, started sculpting the face, completely unaware that she was about to experience the 5 stages of grief. So I began by making my little moon-shaped base, as usual, out of tinfoil. Obviously, I didn't notice anything wrong, I just kept going. I even added more layers because apparently it wasn't thick enough. Then I covered it in clay, I smoothed it, and I even started sculpting the face. I added the little muzzle, the little eyes, you know, everything. And I just kept going. I even started adding details, and I slowly began to see the problem. But I think at this point I was in denial, and after a while, I took a look at what I had created, and it hit me. What even is this crescent shape? Why does it look like a potato? That does not look like the moon, and it looked just awful. And yeah, that's when the bargaining phase started. So what if the crescent is too big? No problem, I can just slim it down. I'll just remove the back part of the clay, cut some of the tinfoil base to make it thinner, and then put some clay back on top. Because I am, after all, a qualified surgeon, right? Oh, no. No. It still looked very, very awful, and now on top of that, the base was weakened, and the worst part was that tiny bits of tinfoil got stuck everywhere in the clay, and that was a nightmare to remove. So naturally, the anger phase began, and I was so angry that I cut its face to seek for some form of revenge. At this point, I decided to keep the face and just reuse it on a new base, which, by the way, was oddly difficult to make. Like, usually I just crush tinfoil into a vague roundish shape and call it a day. But for some reason, I really struggled making the moon shape I had in mind. So once that was done, I covered it with clay again, and the overwhelming sadness phase arrived when I realized that the old face didn't fit the new base, like, at all. It's looking so weird. Oh my god, what is this? And also, it didn't look like a cat anymore. Like, it strangely reminded me of a goat or a llama, and I don't like llamas because they spit on people, and that's not very polite. I mean, would I like to be a llama? Of course, because, like, you know, you spit on people you don't like, and there's no consequence. That's really cool. Anyways, so yeah, that's when acceptance finally kicked in. I had to let go and accept the fact that I had to make another face again. Pretty boring process, honestly. So while I do that, let me explain a bit of this little character's backstory, because if I'm making nonsensical art dolls, I might as well give them nonsensical lore and a personality, right? So her name is Mona, and she's a princess of a far, far away kingdom called Twinkledown. And I feel like she would be super scatterbrained and just can't seem to be able to live in the present moment, and she often has her head in the clouds because, like, in French, you translate this by saying être dans la lune, which literally means to be in the moon. So, yeah, I thought it'd be really fitting for her character. Yeah, for instance, I'm sure that in school, she was the kind of student who stared out the window at the sky, daydreaming instead of listening in class. And her love for daydreaming led her to start making up completely delusional stories and rumors, and then quietly observing from a corner the effect of her lies and the chaos she's created. Yeah, she's kind of evil, but like not in an evil way, because, you know, she does it for the plot, to spice up her life, because deep down, she's just a really bored princess. For instance, let me fill you in on some Twinkledown drama. One day, Mona started a rumor that years ago, the sun hadn't set one morning over the kingdom, and at first, of course, no one believed her, because obviously no one remembered this happening, because it didn't. What really happened was a solar eclipse a few years before. So, purely out of boredom and for her own amusement, she created fake proof, like archives, documents, pictures, all made up, and she managed to convince everyone that there used to be a guy whose job was to make the sun rise. She said that one day this guy quit without telling anyone, and that's why the sun didn't set that morning. And after that incident, the kingdom supposedly decided to automate the rising of the sun. And as she kept confusing people and convincing them that the blackout caused a collective memory loss, people actually started believing her. Some inhabitants even claimed they remembered that day, where they were, who they were with, and their real memories of the solar eclipse progressively were mixing up with the fake memory. And so to this day, this story is considered official history in Twinkledown, and no one will ever know the truth. I mean, no one should ever know the truth. So yeah, she loves telling what she considers white lies as a hobby. What Mona hates, though, is when people blindly believe what she says without checking any sources and then have the audacity to complain that she lied, because first, it's not her problem if they didn't fact check, and second, she's deeply disappointed when people don't understand the humor behind it, especially since she's saying complete nonsense on purpose about 50% of the time just because she thinks it's funny. So, now that we've gotten this out of the way, you can see that I started adding some texture to the moon. I used paintbrushes and some tinfoil, and at this point I had already added the wrinkles on the face of the cat, and it was a pretty satisfying process. I'm not sure if it exactly looks like a hairless cat, but I think you can see that it's a sort of cat-like face, at least, I hope. And I also used a dotting tool to create some craters. And at this point, I was still wondering if I should add some cat ears to the face to really make it look like an actual cat, but I just thought that it would just look too cluttered, so I abandoned this idea and just let it this way. And after this, as usual, I used aluminium wire to create the skeleton, and I twisted it to make it a little sturdier. And I wanted to give this little intergalactic princess some ballet flats, so I just sculpted her some feet that kind of looked human. At first, I really wanted to add some texture to those feet, like craters, just like the moon, but I forgot, so they ended up looking just like regular human feet. Nachos. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. Ooh la 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 la. And then it was time to paint the face, which is something I truly love doing. So I started with a base of kind of a white, yellowish, grayish color. And on top of this color, I used some little sponges to add some metallic silver paint on some various spots of the face, because I really wanted to make it look like the moon. And I honestly didn't think too much during this part. I just put some paint randomly wherever I felt like it. But I really wanted the wrinkles of the cat to be enhanced by the painting, so I watered the paint down to put it in the little creases of the wrinkles, and then I shaded it off a little so the metallic paint would be concentrated more in the creases of the wrinkles to really make them more visible. I also mixed some blue paint with the gray metallic paint and added it to the moon, because I don't know, I thought that it was such a pretty color and it really gave like a celestial aspect to the face that I absolutely love. I am so scared of messing up the pupils. This is so hard, guys. And I finally applied a coat of varnish to seal the whole thing. So I went looking for some old fabrics and stuff that I could use for the dress, and basically the vision I have for the dress is kind of like this type of medieval looking dress, but the thing is, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this with my barely non-existent sewing skills, but I can maybe like kind of try and simplify this to achieve the kind of look I want. The blue, I like the blue, kind of like the white. This, nope. No. My cat is apparently really happy with all of the fabrics that I didn't want to use. After attaching the body to the skeleton, I tried a new way to make hands using pipe cleaners, and I am kind of satisfied, I would say, with the outcome. But yeah, it's still not perfect hands, but I think this technique has a lot of potential. So yeah, I just used pipe cleaners, created sort of hand shape, and then I twisted the little fingers and all of this to create hands. Yeah, not, I don't know, the hands look kind of weird, but I think they're cute, they're fuzzy, they're just not perfect, but it can't be perfect anyways, right? And after this, as usual, I rolled some wool all over the body and I fixed it with hot glue. So for the dress, I did not know what I was doing at all, but I still did it. And I thought it would be easier to make this in two parts. So basically making a skirt and then making the top. So I started by cutting a skirt shape using old fabric that I had at home. And the cool thing with this is that the top I used already had a kind of elastic band, so I just used this and it made things really easier for me. And then I decided that I would add some pink ribbons onto the dress. At first I was kind of scared that it wouldn't really fit the vibe I was going for, but I think like the light pink works really well with the color of the fabric, and also surprisingly with the face and the colors I used for the face. So yeah, I would say that I like this choice. So yeah, I sewed a ribbon at the bottom of the skirt, and then I sewed the sides of it, and the skirt was done. Honestly, the skirt was the easier part of the whole outfit. Then for the top, I started by cutting two sort of rectangles, and I tried a truly revolutionary technique that literally makes my life so much easier when I'm sewing something. I don't think that it is the right way to do things, but I don't know, it's just so much easier for me. Basically, I just take some Mod Podge and I apply it on the sides of the piece of fabric that I just cut all around the shape. And basically, thanks to this, the fabric does not unravel, and I don't have to oversew it, which was really time consuming since I'm doing everything by hand. This technique is a literal lifesaver. I love it. It's so easy and it's so fast, and I just love it. So yeah, I did this, and then I can just basically use my fabric as if I were using felt fabric, which is really cool. I hate oversewing. This is perfect. These are all of the patterns I made for the sleeves. You can see I had a little trouble figuring it out, but I finally kept that one, and I think that's what I'm gonna be using. Hopefully it's gonna look good. After cutting the sleeves, I did my Mod Podge magic on it. And then I cut tiny white ribbons to put all around the neck, just because I thought that the top would be really plain if I didn't add something. So I glued them, and then I also sewed them just to secure it. And I did the exact same thing for the sleeves to add some details to the dress. I think I am now done with the main structure of the dress. I just need to assemble all of these different elements together. My problem before actually like putting all of those little pieces together is that I think the dress isn't, I don't know, celestial enough for me. It lacks a little something compared to her face. So I thought that maybe I would go into all of my little beads and stuff to try to see if I could add some onto the dress to make it look a little more shiny. I don't know. So I was thinking maybe to make like little beads curtains. I took my ultimate beads box, and let's see what I can find. Oh, these beads could be cool. This also might be nice. Nope. This is so pretty. These are really so pretty. I love how iridescent they are. Oh my god, guys, look at this. I did this when I was like 11 years old. I had a phase where I would make so many little animals keychains out of beads, and I just loved making little mice. Oh, I love doing this. It has been a while. I should definitely try to do this again sometime. Anyways, so I'm gonna try to do this. Like that. Uh-oh. No. And so after threading the beads into a gold metallic thread, I attached it onto the dress, and I made 3 little beads threads, and I really love the way it turned out. Honestly, I feel like this really gives a little something to the dress that it didn't have before, and I love it. I really love this part of the outfit. And I also used the same gold metallic thread to sew the sleeves to the base of the top. And then I created her little slippers, so I basically used a YouTube tutorial to help me create the pattern for the shoes. And then I cut a piece of cardboard for the sole, as well as some felt that I glued together, and then I added on top of this some gold fabric that I had covered with some Mod Podge to make it a little sturdier. I don't know if anyone is even still watching the video at this point, but I told you at the beginning of the video that I had a little surprise. The surprise being that I have put 3 little clues in the video that point out to the next little sculpture that I'm going to make. So yeah, if anyone is interested in playing a little game, I would be so happy to have your opinions on what you think the next art doll might be. And after painting the top of the shoe and adding some beads to it, I attached those 2 parts, and this I was kind of scared before starting it, and I thought it was gonna be a little hard to make, but honestly it turned out way easier to do than what I thought it would. Now obviously these are not perfect, but I think they're pretty cute, and I succeeded at making them the exact right size to fit the feet, and that was so cool, because my main struggle usually when doing this kind of things is that they turn out either too big or too small. So here's the final result. I think she's pretty cute and she's really funny looking. Don't get me wrong, I really love her, and I should probably not be saying this out loud, but I think she's like my least favorite child I've created. The thing is, I don't know if we can recognize that it's actually a cat. Or maybe I didn't get enough perspective on this because I just finished it. I think you can definitely see that it's a feline face, but does it really look like a hairless cat? I don't know, so you tell me. Perhaps I should have added some ears, and her face is really crooked. Anyways, I cannot wait to make more of these little sculptures. Like, it's really so much fun. Don't hesitate to give me your weirdest little creature ideas in the comments, because who knows, I might actually try to make them. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.